Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 9.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. Excited about the show today. Excited to be back in the big chair here on WTN as we roll into another week. And we're excited. We had a great weekend, by the way, and an awesome open house with our friends at the Glock store. A couple thousand people showed up. Obviously to see Dan Mandis and Matt Murphy, but they were enthusiastic to also say hi to me.
Did we have a table there?
We did. They weren't very enthusiastic, but I basically just piggybacked on all the excitement from Dan and Matt. It works. It works if you work it. So that's what we did. I brought my kids with me. I brought my boys, and they were very excited to be there. We had to run off and go to sports games right after. So me and Virginia, we do this from time to time. It'll be like, all right, team boy, team girl. And then so I get the boys, she gets the girls. And my boys were like, Dad, can we carry some of these guns? Can we pick these guns up? I said, as long as you don't put your finger on the trigger or point it at anybody. And the guy at the booth says it's okay, then I'm fine with it. They said, this is sick. I think out of everybody that was at the Glock store's open house, my two sons had the most fun. Guaranteed. The guys at the Glock store did a fantastic job. If you never been to the Glock store, you got to check them out. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Everybody knows that. Glockstore.com. But it was a blast, literally. So thank you for those guys for the awesome party, the invitation, as always. Big news story from over the weekend. ICE riots in New Jersey. Shocker. I'm stunned. I can't believe it. Not organic. Weird.
What?
I know.
Coincidence? I think not.
So weird. They're actually getting bussed in. Who could have seen this coming? We're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about the Joe Biden interview. We'll talk about fraud. We'll talk about President Trump and the latest on Iran. Also, as a bit of a palate cleanser today, right around 10:35, I got a couple friends coming in. Candace Lee and Eric Newman. They have a new book out that is going to be fantastic. And if it's already one of the best sellers out there right now. But if you got some kids or some grandkids and they got summer reading to do, this is going to be a book for you guys to pick up for them. Not a book that you have to worry about woke ideology sneaking in or anything like that. Not a book that's been rewritten like Roald Dahl's classics. No. It's all based on biblical truth and all of that. And we'll talk to them about why they decided to write the book and more. That'll be around 10:35. Looking forward to that interview. But we'll begin today with the ICE riots in New Jersey. So before I dive too far into it, Senator Wang out of Senator Andy Kim out of New Jersey. What? Don't shake your head at me. It was an honest mistake.
Is it?
It was.
Okay.
The doubt. Press X for doubt. Senator Andy Kim, he posted on X over the weekend, and he said, Delaney Hall has caused so much chaos and frustration. People in my state don't want to see these abuses in our backyard and on our dime. Then this is the key part right here. The detainees and their families need to be our North Star. We will fight to secure dignity for them because that's who we are in America. The illegal alien families and illegal aliens are our North Star. And maybe they should follow the North Star home then. How about that? Follow the star home. The detainees and the families need to be our North Star, Kim wrote in a post on X. We will fight to secure dignity for them because that's who we are in America. Other New Jersey Democrats, such as Reps Frank Pallone, Rob Menendez, which is Bob Menendez Jr., Gold Bar Bob, have also called for prioritizing migrants' needs above the needs of American citizens. It's laughable. It's a huge joke, but this is what Democrats do. The New Jersey Democrats have also criticized President Trump for stripping any pathway to citizenship and belonging in America, and have spoken about how they tried to help detainees at Delaney Hall. Guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Now, the protests over the weekend were chaotic. I have we're gonna have Bo and Gabe in. They're gonna come through on Friday. That was the first chance that we could get them in. They were at the riots all weekend long, and I'm texting with Bo, and these are my guys. Like these are good friends, and I'm texting with Bo while he's there. And hold on, let me pull it up because I want to make sure that I get it exactly how he put it. Bo said to me, wait, is it okay? This was literally the most radicalizing thing I have ever seen. Two big things pissing me off from the right, though. Not all of these morons are paid. A lot of them literally just hate America, and we need to accept that. And number two, stop saying FAFO from your computer screen. It's so annoying. I get what they mean, but it's so overused. Throw all of these rioters away in prison. Throw away the key. He said that this was the most radicalizing event he has ever been at. And he's been at a lot of protests and a lot of riots. Now, again, a lot of these rioters, they're not from New Jersey. Everybody knows it. And that was exposed ad nauseum over the weekend. They're coming from out of state. That's just the reality. And even the governor of New Jersey knows that they're coming from out of state. This is Mikey Sherrill, the moderate Democrat governor of New Jersey.
The New Jersey State Police Public Safety Response Team acted to secure the area. We did not make this decision lightly. It was absolutely necessary to avoid escalation from ICE. Let me be clear. ICE engagement creates an incredibly dangerous situation. It makes the situation worse, and I refuse to back down in fighting the Trump administration and the threats they've made. We know that people from outside the state have been interfering in the protests and escalating them.
So it's Trump's fault that out-of-state rioters are being funded by leftist organizations and coming into the state because Trump and his administration want to remove illegal alien, child sex offenders, murderers, rapists, gang members. Got it.
5 of the 6 people arrested last night by state police were from outside New Jersey.
Shocker.
And some national extremist groups have become involved in the protest here today.
But this is all Trump's fault, right? Of course it is. Orange man bad.
To the people coming from out of state to create chaos and dangerous situations, you should not be here. You are not helping the people detained at Delaney Hall. You're not helping detainee families, and you're certainly not keeping New Jersey safe. Today and going forward, I urge those protesting outside of Delaney Hall to bring the temperature down so we can focus on the detainees and their families. So comply with the lawful orders from local and state law enforcement and let advocates, faith leaders, and members of this community continue their work.
Now, Mikey Sherrill understood that this escalated rather quickly, and because of the escalation, she needed to take the kid gloves off of local and state police. And she did just that, and kudos to her for doing so. I don't know if Governor Tim Walz would have done the same thing or any other radical leftist governor, but we needed to see arrests. We needed to see a lot more arrests than we saw, if we're being perfectly honest. They said dozens were arrested, but hundreds were out in force, and they should have all been arrested. We saw massive amounts of funding being brought in, and you can see it. Nick Sorter broke it all down on Fox News, where each rider is getting $100+ kit, and they have $10,000 plus setups just for the Delaney Hall protests.
It's through a signal group where they will have people send money anonymously into those Venmos, PayPals, whatever, and they're trying to cloud who is actually funding the entire thing. They're trying to say that it's a community effort, but as I showed in a video that I just posted before coming on air, during that training session where they were handing out $100+ kits to these people, and they've got a $10,000+ setup out here. Like, it's not like one of those tents that you go buy out at Walmart. right, that you can just set up like a canopy you see at a sports game. What we're seeing are professionally set up tents with concrete anchors in the grass that cost thousands of dollars to have somebody come and set up for you, and you have to have a team to do it. And so it's like, you got to look at that and be like, okay, is that really organic? That is a lot of money to be doling out. I now have two $75 respirators that these people have given me, right? They're doling them out like candy. Wow. So the funding has to be investigated. They're doing their best to cloud who was funding it, though.
Yeah, we need to investigate who is funding it, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and there needs to be criminal charges. I got a text here from one of my friends, Colton Maccabee, J6er. He said, in regards to your Delaney Hall segment, where were these protesters when us J6ers were claiming the same thing? Abuses in the prison system. Oh, that's right. They were laughing and saying we deserved it. Exactly. You're absolutely right. Colton's 100% on the money here. Now, again, several dozen of these protesters were arrested, but, I mean, not enough if we're keeping score at home. Not enough at all.
So let's talk about what's happening in Newark, New Jersey. Nearly 24 have reportedly been arrested overnight outside a New Jersey Immigration Detention Center after several days, and you've been watching it here, of clashes between protesters and law enforcement.
But the state's Democrat governor is claiming victory in her battle with DHS.
Alexis McAdams joins us now with the latest. Alexis.
Well, it was another weekend of some chaos out there. We saw dozens of protesters arrested over the weekend in New Jersey, and according to sources, they think it might continue again this week. State police in riot gear moved in to enforce that new 9 o'clock curfew. Watch. So that's just some of what we saw last night, and it's at least maybe 24 arrests and counting. Authorities used tear gas to clear the crowd, while DHS tells Fox there's zero tolerance for rioters here. And they finally have that extra assistance. They kept calling for the Newark police, the state police. Well, now they finally have some backup. Police took over the security operations there outside of Delaney Hall's ICE facility after more than a week of chaos. Video there shows protesters starting fires in the road. I mean, just look at this. I was looking at it over the weekend on X and thinking, what is going on? They started this big blaze there with all this trash that was in the road.
I mean, it was a mostly peaceful middle-of-the-road fire, though, for being perfectly honest. If you were watching on Super Talk TV, maybe you caught this in the background of the reporting, but they didn't acknowledge it on Fox, but spray-painted on a fence behind a lot of these rioters were the words, "Kill ICE, kill cops." Kill ICE, kill cops. This is fine, though. This is just a couple dozen arrests. Again, rookie numbers. We need more. Nick Sorter said he thinks that they were pushing for somebody to be executed. They wanted some sort of sacrifice so that way they could have another Renee Nicole Good, Alex Preddy situation. Because I do believe that a lot of this is really being ginned up so that way they can have another chaotic summer of love. The Renee Nicole Good, the Alex Preddy stuff didn't take hold the way they wanted it to because it was still negative 20 degrees in Minnesota. And I don't know if you know anything about riots and protests. They don't really catch fire, no pun intended, during the winter months. And I think that they want this. I think that they're hoping that something like this happens so that way they can point to this when midterms roll around. They'll be like, it's always chaos under Donald Trump. Because they saw what happened during the George Floyd riots, and they think that that's a winning recipe as they head towards the election in November. That's just my opinion, but I think that there's actually a lot of truth to it. Nick Sorter agrees, says, yeah, they're looking for some sort of a sacrifice.
Well, they're good at what they do, but they are preying on low IQ people and others that really... I guess they don't have any sort of convictions. They're being told that they're helping for the greater good, and so they're basically just foot soldiers out here. And the sad part is I truly believe a lot of these individuals leading the organizational efforts, they want to sacrifice some of these people. They need another Renee Good or Alex Preddy to spur up their movement again across the country. It's a terrifying thought, but I genuinely believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Nick Sorter is right on the money there. None of these individuals are worth anything to the people organizing it. Useful idiots get it first, and these guys are exactly that, useful idiots. But the useful idiots were out in full force, and they were being absolutely chaotic. They were throwing bricks at horses. They literally all weekend long. and they were being bussed in by external organizations. They weren't from New Jersey. They were extremely violent, and more of them needed to be arrested than were. We're going to continue this conversation on the other side. Lot to get to today. It's 9:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and I got to give you my seal of approval on a brand new piece of tech that Dr. Mitch has down at the office today. They are the best when it comes to healing and cutting-edge technology, and they've done it again with their brand new Medical Bay 1. This is a futuristic healing machine designed by Dr. Mitch himself. You sit back like you're in the Artemis spaceship getting a full-body massage while red light, near-infrared, and photon wavelengths light up your cells exactly how God designed them to respond, and then you're going to get those cells stimulated for real tissue regeneration. This is epic healing that you can only find at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And don't forget, they also have non-surgical spinal decompression. What they won't offer you is surgery, injections, painkillers. What they will offer, just real relief. Right now, they're running the Epic Spinal Special, $33 off each visit, so you can launch your pain-free voyage today and save a lot of money. Painisbad.com or call 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com or 615-246-5009. Go see them. Get back to a pain-free life. Thank me later. It starts with a call or a click. Painisbad.com.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Help thousands of homeowners.
up, Iran is throwing in the towel, quitting talks with the U.S. We're also tracking some storms moving through the area. Details on all of that coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. Headlines on the way in less than 3 minutes here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like to. The phone number is 615-737-9986. You can call in. You can text in. I got a good text here from 0122. He said, so let me get this straight. The governor of New Jersey is fighting to allow illegal immigrants to stay in the United States, and she's defending them. Yep, that's so far so good. However, she's also informing people from outside of her state that they do not belong there. Seems a little contradictory, doesn't it? I just responded back with a bunch of the target emojis. He nailed it. Bullseye.
On the money.
This is the moderate Democrat Governor Mikey Sherrill.
The New Jersey State Police Public Safety Response Team acted to secure the area. We did not make this decision lightly. It was absolutely necessary to avoid escalation from ICE. Let me be clear. ICE engagement creates an incredibly dangerous situation. It makes the situation worse, and I refuse to back down in fighting the Trump administration and the threats they've made.
Stunning and brave.
We know that people from outside the state have been interfering in the protests and escalating them. 5 of the 6 people arrested last night by state police were from outside New Jersey. And some national extremist groups have become involved in the protest here today. To the people coming from out of state to create chaos and dangerous situations, you should not be here.
Oh.
You are not helping the people detained at Delaney Hall. You're not helping detainee families, and you're certainly not keeping New Jersey safe.
Okay, well, yeah, so 0122, absolutely right. Contradictory much? So the illegal aliens, they're good to stay. They should be here. Out-of-staters, how dare you? Stay far away. You shouldn't be here at all, isn't it? Isn't that the argument we're making about illegal aliens? Yes, that's the exact argument we're making about illegal aliens. And in the meantime, the riots were just that. Absolute chaos. And if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you'll see the moments where police on horseback, this is New Jersey State Police, are trying to quell the riots, and the horses are being attacked by the protesters. They had rocks being thrown at the horses. They were being attacked with fireworks and objects being thrown at them, but this is all fine. This is all part and parcel. Where's PETA? Where's PETA? No comment from the guys over at PETA. We'll keep talking about this. I do believe that this is one of the biggest stories happening in the country right now. And I think that the Trump administration has a real opportunity to dismantle these networks. And if they act as quickly as they've acted on the fraud front, hopefully we see this dismantling before we get into the summer. We need to see this, and we need to see it quick, or we're going to have another summer of love on our hands. I do believe that's the goal of these leftist activists. We got a lot more to talk about. Hang out with us. Join the show, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There is a flash flood warning for Trigg County right now until 2:45 this afternoon, and a flash flood warning for Callaway County until 2:15. Severe thunderstorm warning for Henry County until 10 o'clock, about a half hour from now. The first of 2 rounds of thunderstorms are right now moving through, and they are now in Nashville, and they're in Franklin as well, hitting the area of Centerville and Dixon with some heavy thunderstorms right now. Be careful as you're driving. These storms should last for the next few hours. We could have another round this afternoon. Iran has walked away from diplomatic talks with the U.S., saying it's due to Israel's strikes on Lebanon. Iran also saying that it has blocked all traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Meantime, CENTCOM has said it intercepted 2 Iranian missiles that targeted U.S. troops in Kuwait late last night. The news has sent the price of oil shooting up more than 7%. The sheriff's office in White House says there may be more victims of the White House high school band director. 32-year-old Dalton Hawkins is charged with having sexual relations with a 16-year-old student.
You kind of expect it nowadays, but it's also like unexpected. Like it happens in your own town.
Hawkins was charged with statutory rape by an authority figure and booked on a $600,000 bond after admitting to the inappropriate contact. Hawkins told investigators he knew the student was a minor and had been talking to her in person and texting her for the past few weeks.
These vulnerable children, just don't really know much, and he's just kind of taking advantage of that. That's pretty sickening.
That's Channel 4's Braden Ross reporting. The sheriff's office says Hawkins worked at other schools as well, and they want to hear from anyone that has knowledge of any other incidents. That's the latest news. Stick around for weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mason, behind the scenes, telling me how much he loves working on the show while simultaneously telling me that he almost wouldn't have been here today if it wasn't for the fact that he was starting other responsibilities at the radio station.
Yeah, but listen, I'm a little sick. Okay? I'm a little sick.
And not in like the good, like, 00 way. You know what I mean? Like, that's sick, dude. Like, not like that. Not like that. No.
It's a little tummy ache.
He's always got the little tummy aches.
Little tummy ache and I thought it was food poisoning for a little bit.
Did you?
I got nervous.
Okay.
But I'm like I'm starting to feel better, but it's still like body ache kind of stuff right now.
So I don't know. Should we do this on the air? It's your news to share.
I didn't know if we wanted to do that now or if we wanted to wait a little bit.
Mason's hard work behind the scenes has been finally recognized around here. Finally. And he's getting more and more responsibilities behind the scenes. He's officially come on full time. He's got some health insurance now.
Guys, they put me in charge of cleaning the coffee mugs. And
Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. No. I mean, real talk though, Mason has done so much work behind the scenes on getting our digital up to par. And finally, the overlords at corporate have recognized the work that you've put in.
Yeah, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm excited to get pumped on, started on this. I'll be pushing our digital stuff a lot. Hopefully seeing more social media posts. Hopefully seeing more YouTube videos. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So today's is like first day on the new responsibilities, yeah. And he literally came in and he's like, man. He's like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have even been here today. And then he tries to tell me, but I love working on your show. And I was like, well, okay, so if it was just the show, you wouldn't have been here?
What was the last time I missed, Chris?
I felt like it was like last week.
It wasn't.
I felt like it was.
I haven't missed.
Well, you were mentally checked out while you were trying to get those 21 Pilots tickets that you didn't get.
Who was at home sick with food poisoning the other day?
Oh my gosh. I get a titch of the Rio one time and now Mason holds it over my head like
saying that I'm the one who missed. I'm just saying whose name's on the show.
To be fair, everybody thought that there was a better replacement than me when Brian Wilson filled in. So it's not like anything dipped. There was no quality dip. There was a quality acceleration. That's everybody knows it.
Quality acceleration. Yes, that's how quality works.
That's how it works. No. People have asked me to get more diarrhea. So that's what I've seen it on the text line.
You get salmonella next.
Yeah, please
step out.
Please get Lyme disease. That's what I've heard.
Can Joan take your seat?
Yep. Lord knows she's gonna. Joan is set up to fill in for me here in a couple weeks. Yeah. And I'm honestly nervous.
You should be.
I'm gonna have to. I'm feeling like I should derail her show. Like I should secretly sabotage it from behind the scenes.
He's calling in. Seminar caller part 2.
I got kids to feed, so I'm nervous. I'm nervous that
you want to go back to producing.
Joan's gonna come in, and she's not going to give me the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, it'll be the Joan Jones experience,
dude. JJE.
I'm here for it.
People are excited.
Be ready.
I don't take vacations often.
No.
So thank you to Joan for filling it for me.
Yeah, much needed.
All right, so we were talking about New Jersey, and we were also talking about how the leftists need to be arrested, and they need to be arrested swiftly and en masse, and that's what we need. If you remember last week, we played you a video of a man who looked absolutely unhinged, total lunatic, and he was saying to the ICE agents, "I see your face. I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill your family." And I thought to myself, well, this is the ad. This is the reason. Anytime a Democrat says that ICE agents need to be unmasked, look at these lunatics. And we have now since learned that individual was also from out of state. He wasn't from New Jersey, but I just want to let you know I was right. He had a very thick New York accent, and he was from New York. But that individual has been arrested. They tracked him down, and he was arrested in less than 24 hours after making those threats. Shout out to the DOJ. And shout out to the FBI for the work that they're putting in. Nick Sorter broke it down on Fox News over the weekend.
Ran up and started saying that you're dead, your whole family's dead to that ICE agent. The Kash Patel and Todd Blanche tracked this guy down out of state again in New York. So they found them across state lines. These people are not from here, but they don't care about that. It's not their, the whole point is just to create chaos and havoc.
And that's what they've been doing all weekend long in New Jersey. Now, do you remember last week when we were talking about that guy? Somebody texted in, they're like, he sounds like an Israeli. So everything's the Jews. If everything's the Jews, nothing is the Jews. I don't know. Like, you can't blame everything. And I was like, did you hear his voice? He sounded like a New Yorker. It sounded like a thick New York accent. And, yep, he was from New York. I don't know. Maybe he was Jewish. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. I didn't see a yarmulke. He also was not holding a menorah. I don't know if they carry those around. Do they carry those? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Maybe. It'd be a dead giveaway. So they're there for chaos and havoc. I almost said chaos. They're there for chaos and havoc. New Jersey has instituted a 9 p.m. curfew moving forward.
Brian, the crowds here beginning to grow yet again as we're waiting to see if there will be more violence tonight. They have been pushed back about a half a mile from the detention center here. They've set up barricades and try to reinforce those barricades to try and prevent another night of violence. As far as the mayor goes, he has come out and said there is a curfew now into effect, and that curfew will last. He's not sure how long he's going to have to keep it in effect.
That's not what we do in the city of Newark. We have protests almost every week in a city that does not result in what you saw in the last 2 or 3 days. And we want to keep it that way.
I mean, how is that? Is that a flex? We got protests all the time. We're always protesting in Newark. We have protests every single day in New Jersey. It's just a weird flex, right? Is that weird to you? That's how they were explaining it on MS Now. We don't say MSNBC. We don't dead name on the Chris Hand Show. But that was their mayor in Newark. This is not what we do. We have protests all the time, and they're always mostly peaceful. It's these out-of-towners that shouldn't be here in the first place. It's like, oh, isn't that the same argument we're making against the illegal aliens?
Some of the worst violence was seen overnight last night. It was a few hundred protesters out in front of the facility. Originally, officials had set up a safe area for peaceful protests. They used barricades to do that. Instead, by the end of the night, those barricades were turned into weapons. The protesters charged the police who were out in front there. Police fired back with tear gas. It was about 2 hours of pitched battle back and forth. Dozens of canisters of tear gas fired up into the air. Police on horseback moving in. Also, riot police using ballistic shields trying to push those crowds back. So by the end of the night, actually, some of the protesters setting fires on the streets. This is an industrial area, so not a lot of damage to property, but still very unsettling and violent scenes now. Day 10 on this. The curfew goes into effect 9 p.m. tonight. Brian, back to you.
So the curfew was instituted over the weekend. Again, these protests are not organic at all. They're filled with out-of-towners, out-of-staters, and they're funded by leftist networks. And why, might you ask? Well, again, Nick Sorter brought it up a little while ago in the last segment. We covered his break on Fox talking about that. And I tend to agree. They're looking for another Renee Nicole Good situation. They're looking for another martyr, if you will, for the leftist cause, to die for liberalism, to die for left-wing ideologies, so that way they can hold them up and they can have these riots all summer long. And nobody's surprised. This is what they think of these useful idiots that are involved in these protests. The protests will continue until the orange man is removed, and the orange man isn't going anywhere, and the deportations will continue. Although, to be fair, let's be honest, none of this is even at the level that we need it to be. We need way more deportations. If they're upset about the low numbers that we've had so far, we need to make them much more angry, because even conservatives will tell you, it's been kind of rookie numbers. It's been a little disappointing on the mass deportation front. And the Republicans ran away from it. They ran away from the mass deportation messaging because midterms are coming. And it's just weak. It's weak. We have had Donald Trump back in office now for what, a year and a half? A little less than a year and a half. And we need more deportations, not less. We need a lot more. And it's time to stop focusing on the worst first. We need all of them gone. At this pace, it will only take us 4 more terms of President Trump to clear out the illegal aliens. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. We got 2.5 million, 3 million-ish, including self-deportations so far. That's not going to cut it when you have 30 million illegal aliens in the country. It's just not. It's not what we voted for. We needed mass deportations, not a few here and there. So step up your game. That's what we're looking for. And we see the leftist networks. They're happy to step up their game. They're running around. They're getting funded. They got military-grade goggles. They got all the supplies that they need to fight against the evil fascist regime. And it seems like our guys are working with their hands behind their back. I mean, what are we doing?
Down a little bit also to establish a safe area for peaceful protesters, which it pretty much was during the day. But at night, just after sunset around 9 o'clock, things really began to change. Some well-organized protesters charged forward, actually using the barricades initially to charge the police. The police responded instantly with pretty much point-blank shots of tear gas fired into the crowd. And then from there, it really spiraled. About 2 hours of battle for control of the street. Canister after canister of tear gas was fired up into the air. You could see the arcs of the smoke and then landing down at the scene. Police in riot gear with ballistic shields were pushing back as well as the two sides scuffled. The protesters late at night often come prepared for such activity. A lot of them had helmets on, goggles, gas masks. They were prepared for a fight, and a fight is what they got. Towards the end of the night, they began lighting fires on the street. This is pretty much an industrial area. So for the most part, not much property damage. Those fires were put out, and what we have now is a curfew situation in effect. Curfew beginning at 9 p.m. now through 6 a.m. the next day. We'll see if that manages to quiet things down.
Again, all of this started because of a hunger strike that was being reported at Delaney Hall, which is the immigration facility inside Newark, New Jersey. And Joey Jones, a U.S. Marine who has since re-enlisted, he's also on Fox News. He said, when you're talking about the hunger strike, you know who isn't having a hard time getting food? All these leftist protesters.
Having a hard time getting good food. All those people out there protesting. I don't see anybody out there, malnourished, trying to find a snack. And that's what's funny about this, right? We live in a country where you're so spoiled.
Yeah.
That you're well fed, you got a roof over your head, you can put on your little costume and your makeup and go out and you can spend your day doing this, attacking law enforcement officers for enforcing the law. We live in a country where you can do that. Now, everyone's situation
is career.
Different, but maybe
that's a career. They're paid
for it, right?
Getting paid.
That's the gig is up, right? They're getting paid to be out there.
It's a valid career path to be in a nonstop protest.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Not all of them are getting paid. Some of them are just useful idiots, but a lot of these people are getting paid. The area around Newark, since New Jersey State Police forced the rioters out of the area, they were going through that area, and they're looking around. And, I mean, you had tens of thousands of dollars worth of supplies. Just absolute mind-blowing the amount of things they had. Nick Sorter posted this video on X, and if you're watching us on Super Talk TV, I mean, it is just stacks upon stacks of everything that could possibly be needed for these rioters. From liquid IVs to paper towels to food to water. I mean, do you see this? Do you see all of the stuff? Earplugs, sunblock, gas masks, duct tape, zip ties. Like, these people were ready for war. And that's what they showed up there to do.
Stockpile on stockpile.
Dude, it's crazy, right? And I think saying tens of thousands of dollars, I feel like that's a low estimate. Am I wrong in thinking that? That's a low estimate?
I think so, too.
Because it is just, the entire block is filled with this stuff. There's training videos. There's new clothes for individuals. I mean, just the amount of supplies should raise everyone's eyebrows when it comes to these inorganic protests that we're seeing. We got a lot more to cover today. We're going to talk about the Joe Biden interview. We'll talk about fraud. Nick Shirley making some noise over the weekend as the Stop Nick Shirley Act has cleared the House in California. So we'll talk about that. California lawmakers are insane, so we'll cover that. Then at 10:35, we got a couple friends coming in, Candace Lee and Eric Newman. They got a great book. If you're a parent or a grandparent, you got some kids in your life that are doing some summer reading, but you don't know what to get them because a lot of the new books are woke trash and other books have been rewritten. Looking at you, Roald Dahl. We'll tell you a book that you can get that is based in biblical truth that is going to be fantastic. It's a New York Times bestseller, and we'll talk about that. A little bit of a palate cleanser from the news over the weekend. Also on the way, we'll talk about the latest on Iran. There's a lot to get to, only a little bit of time. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like. 615-737-9986. It's 9:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zero Res Nashville. So I had brought my boys with me to the Glock store over the weekend for the open house. And I had a couple listeners come up to my sons and say, tell your dad to stop blaming you for making a mess of the carpets. And I had to tell them, like, guys, I'm not blaming them. I'm just speaking the truth. The kids ruin the carpets. You know who saves the carpets? My friends at Zero Res. We call them a lot because they do things the right way. It's the Maha of carpet cleaning. Make America healthy again. They don't use harsh chemicals. They don't leave behind soap residue. They use their exclusive ZR water system that actually gets everything out. And it leaves the carpets looking insanely clean. They dry fast, and honestly, they stay clean way longer, which matters when you got kids running in and out of the house all day long. And now that the weather is getting warmer, they can't decide if they want to be inside or outside. It's even more back and forth. So we get the carpets cleaned from our friends at Zero Res. It's the perfect time to do it. You got the kids back home for the summer. If you're dealing with what I'm dealing with, call my friends at Zero Res today. They got about 4,800 Google reviews, a 4.9 rating. Clearly, a lot of families in the Middle Tennessee area trust them, so you can trust them too. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Ask them about their 2- and 3-room specials. And don't forget to ask about air duct cleaning as well. You can always book online, ZeroResNashville.com. 59 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. On the way, I got some updates on fraud. California, they're on their way to passing the Stop Nick Shirley Act. What is the Stop Nick Shirley Act? Well, they're actually going to criminalize investigating fraud before they actually investigate and stop the fraud. Yeah, that's a worse offense. Letting people know that it's happening is absolutely worse than committing fraud. You're keeping score at home, right? You understand. You're smart. Nick Shirley commented on it over the weekend. He's not exactly impressed. We'll bring you those comments when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A flash flood warning right now for Trigg County until 2:45 this afternoon, and for Callaway County until 2:15. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Henry County expiring at this hour. Now, the first of two rounds of thunderstorms are moving through right now. Radar showing Murfreesboro is getting some thunderstorm activity right now. So is Nashville. And folks in Centerville and Spring Hill are in line to get some of these heavy thunderstorms now, too. Further west in the areas of Paris, Dresden, and Martin, some pretty heavy thunderstorms are bearing down on them as well. There may be more coming this afternoon, so keep it here and we'll keep you informed. Iran is walking away from talks with the U.S. after firing missiles at a U.S. base in Kuwait. Those missiles were intercepted.
This is a pattern. We've seen these types of exchanges on a number of occasions between the Iranians and the U.S. military in and around that area while the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Whether it's the Iranians targeting cargo vessels, which might try and basically breach its blockade on that critical waterway, or whether it's the U.S. going after cargo vessels, which it says were trying to breach the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports.
That's ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Sufi Burridge. A wrong-way crash on Briley Parkway over the weekend ended with one man being killed and a teenager being charged with DUI and vehicular homicide.
Metro police say the 17-year-old was driving west in the eastbound lanes near Clarksville Pike. He smashed head-on into another driver, 66-year-old Alan Rincon of Clarksville. He died at the hospital.
That's Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter. The teen driver suffered minor injuries. And the east lanes of I-40 in downtown Nashville shut down on Sunday afternoon for several hours. It was because of an oversized truck that got stuck under the Broadway Bridge. This happened about 4:15 yesterday afternoon. TDOT crews helped that truck to back up. That truck and another oversized truck right behind it, and they were able to redirect both of them onto I-65 to get around downtown Nashville. TDOT says it doesn't appear there's any structural damage to the bridge. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. Excited to talk about the latest updates on fraud. Even though it's a bit infuriating, I think sunlight's the best disinfectant, and bringing this issue to the light is what we need to do. In California, it's actually more problematic if you expose fraud than if you commit fraud. Shocker, I know. The Stop Nick Shirley Act is being advanced by California lawmakers, and Nick Shirley went on Fox News over the weekend, the big weekend show, to talk just about that. He said that they're actually trying to criminalize the investigations instead of going after the fraudsters. This was Nick Shirley over the weekend.
To them would be, what do they have to hide?
Yeah.
Like, why do they have to create this bill specifically for immigrant communities, immigration support services? And what Mia Bonta didn't say when she spoke in front of the assembly was it also includes health care. So we know, like Medi-Cal, for instance, there's there could be hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud just in Medi-Cal. And it was proven that there's $250 million in hospice fraud that her husband actually claimed that he prosecuted and that he found. And that would have happened if I didn't make that video on the hospice fraud. So Mia Bonta, her husband's the attorney general, and she's actively creating a bill that would have stopped somebody like me from exposing fraud inside the Armenian community, for instance. And her husband's the attorney general. Like, there's got to be some weird discussions going on in that house.
I mean, it's California. It's the most California thing I've ever heard. But you uncovered a lot, and your videos have created real change, I think, inspiring certainly the vice president and the task force. So you should be very proud of everything that you're doing.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. Nick absolutely started a revolution when it comes to fighting the fraud. And the administration has been attacking it seriously and effectively ever since Nick Shirley did what he did the day after Christmas, dropping that video on Minnesota fraud. And he has since expanded out, and he's focused on California and the hospice fraud in the Armenian community. And in return for his valiant efforts, they threw him a parade. No, they actually tried to criminalize what he's doing in California. It's absolutely disgusting. It's a huge joke, but it's California. Are you shocked? And the woman that's pushing the legislation, Mia Bonta, her husband is the Attorney General of California. So he's going to take credit for busting the fraud while his wife works behind the scenes to criminalize investigating the fraud. It's an absolute joke, but this is California for you. Nick Shirley was asked on this same expose on the big weekend show on Fox about the Attorney General's wife pushing the Stop Nick Shirley Act. He said, they're going after you. Aren't they supposed to be going after the fraud? It's like, well, yeah, that would make a lot of sense, but it is California after all.
He is a legislator. The California legislator is going after you. Aren't they supposed to be going after the fraud? I mean, their job is oversight over the spending of public money. And why do you have to uncover it? And why? And by the way, where's ABC News, NBC News, all the mainstream media?
Yeah, I mean, on the ABC News, NBC News, CBS, you know, they have actually spent more time, I believe, trying to discredit Nick Shirley's reporting. And then when they couldn't discredit it, then they started copying his reporting. CBS actually went out and did a similar expose the way Nick Shirley did, basically to piggyback on the success that he's had. You're watching the death of legacy media in real time. I mean, that's all we can really point to. The mainstream media, that's really like the silver lining in all of this. The mainstream media has become so watered down and so ineffective that nobody really cares. It's not even a shock. It's not even a surprise. It's not even a big deal that the mainstream media isn't covering this because we don't need them anymore.
Uncovering should be really mad about this. Yeah, but they're not. And the fact is, like, why are they trying to make it harder to expose fraud? Well, a lot of these people need these communities for votes, or they need them to continue to pushing their agenda, specifically the immigrants. Like, why not just all support services? Why specifically immigration support services? It's because they need these groups, and they need the money to eventually funnel back into whatever agenda they want to continue to push. That's why they're creating this bill.
They're doing it because of voters. They're doing it because they want to count on these communities for votes. And we saw that in Minnesota. We're seeing that in California. And Nick Shirley's exactly right. They're not going to poke and prod at the fraud. because they don't want to lose these groups. And the more they poke and prod, the more that they're going to anger these communities. It's as plain as day for anyone keeping score at home. But they'll say that Nick Shirley is doing something wrong. Nick Shirley said that he doesn't have anything to hide. Why is California coming after him?
Actually helping everyone in the country to figure out where their tax dollars are going. And so I don't try to hide anything because I don't have anything to hide. So when I do go confront a fraudster and they start running from me, what does that say about the fraudster? They're obviously committing a crime, or they're committing some sort of fraud, because if they had nothing to hide, they would just simply confront me as well. And so I don't really plan to disguise myself. I don't have anything to hide. If they have something to hide, it goes to show that what I'm doing, I might be onto something with these fraudsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be onto something. I think that's the understatement of the year. I might be onto something. There might be something to this fraud stuff. There might be something to the Democrats trying to cover it up and obfuscate the truth here. Yeah. Well, the administration's taking note. And it's, again, this isn't a left versus right issue. Like, there is absolutely fraud happening in red states. There's fraud happening in blue states. And everybody should be upset about this because the tax dollars that they're stealing don't have an R or a D assigned to them. They're American tax dollars. And if tax dollars are being stolen, these programs are going to become insolvent. You're not going to be able to fund these programs at all. So everybody should be up in arms about this, including, especially, I would imagine, the people that think these programs are a good thing. Now, I think you can make the argument that we should shut all these programs down, and I'd be for it. I would. Let churches handle charity. Let the other entities deal with that, not the federal government. But that's a discussion for a different day. What we're seeing, though, from the administration is a massive influx in attention to the fraud. We're seeing attention being paid in all 50 states. J.D. Vance had a round table last week where he invited every attorney general from the country to come in and sit down to discuss fraud. No Democrat state attorney general showed up. None. Seems a little fishy. Seems a little off. Now, to be fair, Connecticut and Oregon, they sent representatives, but everybody else just didn't have the time. They didn't have the time to deal with the fraud. Well, the administration has the time, and they are focusing in on it. Dr. Oz posted this video over the week where he found another hotbed of Somali fraud. Weird. This time in Ohio, home to the second largest Somali population behind Minnesota, don't you know?
I mean, Columbus, Ohio is home to the second largest Somali population in the entire U.S. after Minneapolis. And I'm standing in front of the LaBelle Home Healthcare Company, where it used to be, when its owner, Najumi Tatsing, was recently sentenced to 3 years in jail for Medicaid fraud. Now, Ohio Medicaid paid $5.7 million for home health aid services when the company inflated the hours of services. They billed for registered nurses, none were present. They billed for care of people who were dead or ineligible to receive Medicaid. Now, charging for dead people is a bad look when you go to court.
Are you sure about that? You sure?
You sure about that?
I think so, actually.
You sure about that?
I think so. Not all the way there.
You sure about that?
Getting closer. I think when you charge for services for the dead, it's a red flag. It's like the hospice care in California, where they have a nearly 100% survival rate. It's like, I don't think that's how hospice works. I thought it was you weren't supposed to survive if you went into hospice, but it's California. They do things differently there. They actually have the best hospice care in the entire nation in California. If I'm going to be put into hospice, I hope and pray that my family will love me enough to do it in California, so that way I can survive it. But in Columbus, Ohio, Dr. Oz personally showed up to talk about more Somali fraud.
We use data mining to identify this upcode against corruption. I'll give you an example. Franklin County, where we are now, alone by itself accounts for more than a third of the $1.5 billion spent on home health care in Ohio. That is 3 times more than what would be expected. Now, process that statistic. The corruption is so widespread here that over a third of the entire state's home health care budget goes to this county, which is 3 times more than you'd expect. He also identified 288 Medicaid-registered home health aid companies operating out of just 7 office buildings along one nearby road. Some of these buildings are nearly vacant. Home health care and personal care services have become the subject of nearly all of the recent fraud prosecutions in Ohio. Everyone's upset about criminals billing for services that were never rendered. There were ghost visits, time fraud. The Ohio auditor found that almost half of the personal care services claims had no electronic verification. We don't even know the visits happened. This is fraud at scale. As a result, Governor DeWine has asked the federal government to allow a statewide 6-month Medicaid moratorium on new home health care businesses, right? We're allowing that. Within 24 hours, we're giving permission. And I'm proud of that because if we do this the right way, people will stop using Medicaid as a piggy bank. Vice President Vance, who's from Ohio, wants the White House Anti-Fraud Task Force coming after fraudsters everywhere with everything we have.
And I like that they're going after Ohio. Now, Ohio is a red state currently. I mean, it's like purplish, right? Like a purple state. But it has a Republican governor. And one of the key differences that we're seeing with Ohio is that the government in Ohio is working with the Trump administration to root out the fraud. And we're not seeing the same thing happening in Minnesota or in California. They're actively fighting against the federal government when it comes to the fraud. Make that make sense. But what we're seeing is a whole of government approach. And when states work with the federal government here, we can get the fraud under control much, much quicker. I look forward to seeing more coming out of these fraud stories here in the near future. I think that we're seeing just the tippity top of the iceberg, and that it's going to be bigger than any of us can even wrap our head around. And that's saying something because it's already bigger than we can wrap our head around. Billions upon billions of dollars being stolen. Wild. You want to join the show? 615-737-9986. Let's go to our friend Gary in Springfield. What's up, Gary? How are you?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me on again. I sent to you a picture of a lady that was paying protesters in the Summer of Love here in Springfield, Tennessee, and a little bit of information on the bottom. Were you able to see that yet?
I was not. What's the last four of your phone number? I'll find it.
5721.
All right, perfect. I'll find it here in a second. Give me the gist of it though. What do you got?
The gist of it is that with 10 of us veterans, we found out that BLM and Antifa were coming. That was that big Summer of Love thing to Springfield, and they were going to cause trouble. We caught 3 Antifa at night, 2 scouts, and the one leader with the backpack radio all in black. We ran them off. There were about 20-something BLM protesters already arrived at night. And then the next day, there were about 94 BLM. The Antifa did not come back. So we told the BLM leadership, you're not going to cause any trouble, and you're not going to damage any of the businesses in front of the courthouse. And otherwise, you're going to get hurt. And that was it. And so everything went nice. They did their protest. We said, look, you have the right to protest, but you're not going to do anything that's violent, etc. And so they protested until they left at 9 o'clock at night. And we stayed with the courthouse. And the whole time we had law enforcement from time to time coming by, giving us a thumbs up. Businesses appreciate, they closed down. They appreciated that we were there. The picture that you have is a lady, excuse me, paying everybody in the afternoon for being there. We knew for a fact the leaders were getting about $1,200 per event. That's what they get. And the average person was around $300 for being there.
So how did you figure out that they were paying them?
First, we found out through a network they were being paid. And that picture that you will see of this woman, she had the checks in her hand, and we watched her handing the checks out. Right there in front of the courthouse on the sidewalk. You have the picture there.
Interesting.
Yep. That was 2020.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, it seems to me that they want something like this again this summer.
Yeah. And so none of this stuff is organic. And we even stopped it a few months later. This is June of 2020. We did the same thing, and this time we had 60 people from 2 different groups, Sumner County and Millersville. And that one became more dangerous because there were some people there that were armed, and they were threatening to kill us, literally. And I broke that thing up, and it turned out Channel 2 was covering it, and it turned out to be a kumbaya because I just went after the leaders, and I said, you know, this bunch of garbage. You got college kids here from Vanderbilt. None of these tags were from in the state of Tennessee. They were Vanderbilt students. And I told a Vanderbilt professor, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, man, you're not wrong. Well, hey, I appreciate the heads up, and any more information you get, you send it in our way. All right, Gary.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you. Let's go to RD real quick in Columbia. What's up, RD?
Hey, Chris, good to talk to you. Listen, I thoroughly enjoy listening to you discuss your kids' ball teams. How'd they do in the tournament this past weekend?
So we got one game in. My son got to play his flag football, and then everything else got rained out.
Oh, okay.
So everything got pushed back. But we got playoffs. We got playoffs on the way, and they're going to be playing as hard as they can play because they know that there's been a deal made behind the scenes. Matt Murphy okayed it that if they win their championship game, Matt Murphy's going to give them the Nincompoops trophy for another week to eat cereal out of.
Well, listen, please keep us advised because I want to tell you something, pal. I'm 76 years old, and looking back, the most rewarding time of my life was when I was coaching my kids' youth sports teams. I know how hectic it can get at times, running there all different directions, but cherish every moment, buddy.
Oh man, you're not lying. I was talking with a bunch of people over the weekend at the Glockster open house. I was like, I'm fully aware that I'm currently living in the glory days.
You certainly are. Cherish every moment of it.
Yes, sir, I will. I appreciate you. It's 10:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at USS. I got to tell you, if you've been putting off repairing your home, the foundation, or the concrete repairs that you need to get done because of the economy, you're not alone, but here's the reality. Your home doesn't wait for the economy to get better. Cracks in your walls, uneven floors, sinking driveways, those problems only get worse with time. And this is why you can trust and why I trust my friends at United Structural Systems. They've been serving Tennessee since 1994, and they do things a little bit differently. No pressure, no gimmicks, just honest inspections and real solutions that fix the problem right away. They're not going to send a sales guy to your house that's worried about a quota. They're going to send a pro who is very familiar with everything that could be going wrong. From foundation stabilization to crawl space repair to concrete leveling, USS is going to focus on long-term results, not quick patches. And right now, they're making it easier to act with 24 months, no interest financing now through the end of June. Fix it now, pay for it later, because the economic outlook may be uncertain, but your home's foundation shouldn't be. Visit USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. It's United Structural Systems, committed to their customers, invested in what matters most. They are USS, USSTN.com.
are tracking some storms moving through the Middle Tennessee area, and we've got the latest for you coming up. Also, what's behind Iran's decision to walk away from talks with the U.S.? Those stories coming up here at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. Headlines on the way in less than 5 minutes here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm super excited. We got a couple guests in studio. Candace Lee and Eric Newman are here to talk about a book that these guys are writing. Welcome to the show, Candace and Eric. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited. So I have 4 kids myself, and all the kids are doing summer reading. So when you guys had a book out, I thought this is a perfect time to have you guys in because there's a lot of people that need good books. And we were talking off the air. It's like, I saw a story a couple weeks ago. They're rewriting Roald Dahl classics.
I know.
They're just updating them, guys. They want to make them more inclusive and more safe for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like even the classics, you're not really sure what you're getting anymore.
Yeah, those are my kids' favorites too. So they love those books. So.
Yeah, they're classics. My daughter actually starred in Matilda over the weekend, the musical, and it's like it's so fun. It's such a good story, and it's like to ruin it. I don't know what you're doing. Why would you do that?
I know.
But you guys have wrote a new book. It's called George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer: A Scouting Legend. This is the first book in the Order of the Dragon Slayer series. What made you want to write a book, and what is the book about?
Yeah. So our background is really film and TV production. We've done Veggie Tales. We worked with Larry the Cucumber, Andrea Bocelli, Bear Grylls. And so the vision for this actually started as a film. And so we have a film screenplay, and then we just thought, let's imagine this as a book first. And, first of all, we just love exciting stories. We grew up as Goonies.
Yep.
That's just our jam. But we also had a message that we wanted to communicate to readers as well.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of believe that, I don't know, you look around, you can see that our world has some dragons out there. And we sort of have this hunch that the people who are going to slay them are the kids that are on our Little League teams and in our classrooms and in the backseat of our car. And so we wanted to tell a story that would really show kids in the driver's seat of their own story. We like to say that the dragon is dangerous, but the kids are even more dangerous. Bear Grylls put that in the foreword of the book, and I'm like, that sums it up so perfectly. We really were looking at, what are the stories that made us feel brave when we were young? And, it was, everything from Jurassic Park to Chronicles of Narnia. And so we're like, what if we could tell a story that really puts kids in a spot where they are facing impossible odds and then making brave choices to overcome them. And so we have a literal dragon in our story, and it's faced by a scout, and we have had so much fun bringing that to life and getting it out to readers.
And you guys are already making some pretty big steam on the book. I mean, Amazon sold out.
Yeah. The first day it got picked as one of Amazon's best books of May, which we were so pumped about. And we had a lot of traction out of that and out of the gate, and we're just excited. We've started hearing back from readers and families. And one of the things that I love is we've heard from a lot of grandparents and parents who said, don't call this middle grade. I loved it as much as my grandkids.
Yeah, the response has been really fun.
Well, it's really cool. I want to talk more about the book. We're up against it. We're going to jump into the news, and then we'll be back with Candace Lee and Eric Newman, who have a great book out, George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, A Scouting Legend. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got a flash flood warning now until 2:15 for Callaway and Trigg counties, with heavy cells right now in Columbia, Spring Hill, Williamsport, Beech Grove, Union Grove, all those areas this morning. Now, these storms are moving south, and they could be around for a couple of more hours, and then we can expect another batch of storms later today. Stick around for the full forecast coming up in a few moments. Iran has walked away from talks with the U.S., angered that the U.S. retaliated after it shot down a U.S. drone in international waterways and fired missiles at a U.S. military base in Kuwait.
This morning, new tensions in the Middle East. U.S. Central Command announcing it conducted self-defense strikes inside Iran over the weekend. weekend, targeting radar and drone sites. CENTCOM says the U.S. strikes were in response to what it called aggressive Iranian actions, which included the shooting down of a U.S. drone over international waters.
That's ABC's Karen Hua reporting. Iran also citing Israeli strikes on terror group Hezbollah in Lebanon. And moments ago, the Israeli military warned residents of Beirut to flee their homes amid potential impending strikes. Closer to home, a Tipton County nurse is in jail after the TBI tracked him down as the owner of 115,000 images and videos of child pornography. 33-year-old Cameron Sanders was arrested at his home this weekend. His neighbors spoke to Channel 4.
I am not pleased one bit that he is a couple houses down from here. It's just a complete betrayal of trust, and we don't need stuff like that around in this neighborhood or this county.
During the search of his home, police also turned up drugs and guns. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Should kids be on this platform, period?
No, it's not worth it. It's only going to create headaches for you.
Roblox itself, it is a predator haven. There are games on Roblox like XYZ Public Bathroom Simulator. That's about 7 million visits, and the whole premise of the game is showering together with kids.
It's basically open season for sex predators on this app. For this reason and all of the others that we've talked about today, Roblox is violating Louisiana law.
If you join it, you're going to see predators, you're going to see naked avatars, you're going to see people peeing and all this sort of weird stuff. If I was a parent and I saw that, I would be outraged. I would be totally outraged. And parents aren't aware of this.
Because there is so much content and it's so difficult to monitor, and there's, 40% of their users are under the age of 13. Of course, it's a place where predators have learned how to network and gather and groom children.
36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You can get those at betterwater.com. Really excited to have Candace Lee and Eric Newman in studio. We're talking about a new book that they wrote, George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, a scouting legend. Thank you. You guys brought in a copy for me, and now I know what me and the kids are going to be reading over the summer. We're really excited. So you wrote this book, and tell me why. Like, what's your why?
Yeah, so that's, when we first had the idea, we're like, oh, dragons, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, those are our favorite kind of stories. But we circled like, okay, but why are we telling this story? Because just as important as the plot is the why, the theme. We came across this, and this is 15 years ago. It's been a long journey. We came across this TED Talk called The Demise of Guys. And it really fascinated us. It was about the difficult trajectory that especially young men face today. Again, 15 years ago, so more difficult now. Between the immersive worlds of online pornography and online video gamings that are just capturing, a generation of young men. And they're untested in the world. And so the big question of, do I have what it takes, that everybody asks, we all ask this. They don't get to test that question. And so they are like, their whole development is arrested. And so it's like, this is why we have to tell this story about a Dragon Slayer kid.
Yeah, and it's almost become countercultural. I mean, with all the things that we're up against, the gender confusion, the moral relativism, the participation trophy generation, your book is reimagining St. George, a Christian hero, and it's through a modern scouting lens. So what made you decide it was time to push back with a story that celebrates real bravery and biblical manhood?
Yeah, we believe, we saw in the next generation this need to kind of build that resilience. And I think, our thought is that there's really no better way to do that than through a story, because ideas can be big and abstract. And when we're talking to young people, we want them to make that journey from the mind down into the heart, to where it becomes more than just an abstract belief, and it becomes something where it's like, no, the question, do I have what it takes? It's like, yes, I do. And we believe that you kind of get there by seeing it modeled. And so the kids in our story, they make big mistakes. They aim high and fail at certain points, but that is really all part of building them into these young heroes. What is fun is there's a big cast of characters in the story, and every single one of them kind of has their moment where even the person that looks like they're absolutely not a Dragon Slayer has their moment where they rise to the occasion, and all of the idiosyncrasies that they maybe think are holding them back become the very thing that is used to it's their secret superpower, if you will. And so that was one of our core reasons of telling the story in this way is, the TED Talk is great at communicating the problem to adults, and we wanted to bring the solution to the kids in a really fun, inviting way that is an adventure the whole family could go on. And I think, Eric, your little boy says I just need to go out and touch some grass.
Yeah.
Today, so many kids that, there's a lot of independence available on the internet, but there isn't as much independence available out in the real world. And we wanted to show, that's one of the things that led us to the world of scouting, is that these are kids who are learning real skills that are tested in the real world. And there is kind of a place for all of those different skill sets to be honed within this band. And scouting brings together very unlikely people. And so, that was kind of the ingredients that led us to the spot.
And I think there's something so important in failure. Everybody wants their kids to win, but I think this is why we love baseball in my house, because it's like you actually fail a lot more than you win.
Right.
And you have to learn how to deal with that failure. But storytelling, much like baseball, it's been a powerful way to shape generations. So why do you think it's so urgent right now for Christian parents to reject the hopelessness and the often anti-God narratives coming out of Hollywood and mainstream publishing? Because it feels like your book is completely counter to that.
Yeah. I mean, I tell a story about my son. He's now 13, just turned 13. When he turned 3, and I'm sorry, Zainer, that I'm telling this story on air. When he turned 3, I took him on, he was a little young. I took him on this father-son camp out. I thought, he's young, he'll be fine. We'll still have a good time. Took him on the camp out, and he still wore a diaper at night. And he wandered out of the tent in his diaper, and he was immediately surrounded by all these other boys who saw him, all older, saw him, and they started yelling at him like, "Oh, you're a baby," and laughing at him and pointing at him. And I'm seeing it from far away, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I brought him on this, camp out to have fun with him, and now he's gonna be traumatized.
You're immediately like, I failed.
Like I did the wrong thing. And I run over there to intervene, and Xander's laughing. And he's laughing back at these boys, and he says, "I'm not a baby, I'm a dragon slayer." I was just like, oh. And that for me, I mean, it was, 10 years ago, I was like, this is why we have to tell this story. It's like so many people, today, I mean, all of us, we look for our identity and our accomplishments, or like we were saying before, and our failures. It's attached to these external things. But we believe, that God has a unique, special identity for all of us. And if we can be grounded and anchored in that, when life throws stuff, labels or names or failures at you, it won't sway you like it will.
Yeah.
We're talking with Candace Lee and Eric Newman. Their book, George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, is out and available now. Great read if you're a parent or a grandparent, even better if you're the kid. So with everything that you have going on in mainstream culture, Christian parents are kind of exhausted. I mean, it's just like, it's a battle every single day. Practically speaking, how does this book really kind of subliminally put in those values to raise resilient, purpose-driven kids?
Yeah. We kind of like to use the phrase sometimes that you can sort of hide God's word in your art. It's like a play on hiding God's word in your heart. And sometimes that's the best way to kind of take those timeless truths. And our job isn't to preach a sermon through a story. Our job is, we want to tell a great story first and foremost. And so this really is a story for everyone, but there is hidden within there these nuggets that are inspired by scripture. And some of them, I think for people who have an ear for it, they'll notice more.
You'll notice it.
Yeah.
You'll notice
but
it.
But we also have a lot of readers who aren't. And so what I love about it is it reminds me of the way that Jesus told stories. He would speak stories to the masses that taught kind of, here's how the kingdom of heaven's like this, it's like that. And he didn't explain them. But afterwards, he would take the disciples aside and he would disciple them through the stories. And we sort of see this book working that way for families. Our hope is that it's a story that can be enjoyed by anyone, that you could give it to your neighbor and they'd think, oh, my neighbor just gave me a fun story and I enjoyed that. And then, a Christian family can take that same story and use that to stir conversations. You were talking about the kind of stories that are told today in culture, and so many of them are they kind of invite kids into these really introspective journeys that take you deeper and deeper inside yourself. And we kind of think the answer to the questions that kids are asking is not inside themselves. It is somewhere bigger. It's from God and it's their place in his story. And we have a line from one of the characters in the book. She says, "I have breath in my lungs. It ain't for nothing. And I'm here for a reason. So I'm going to find out why." And that's really, we wanted to kind of open up conversations like that. You're here for a reason. What is it? What is that purpose? Because, the kids in the story, they come from a pretty desperate place.
They're from a dying coal town. So like one of our main guy, he lost his father. His best friend, he's got two parents in prison. One of the girls that gets roped in, it's her father who arrested him. So it's a bit messy, and we wanted to anchor these kids in real, authentic life.
Yeah. That's life.
It's absolutely life.
Well, that's like the new American story. Everybody knows somebody who's dealing with addiction, and everybody knows somebody who's dealt with law enforcement, and it's just that this is the culture.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to meet the culture where it's at and not pretend that it's not there.
Absolutely.
So I love that you guys are doing that in the book. And the main character, George, is an ordinary kid. He steps into a bigger story. How does your tale echo the biblical pattern that we've seen with like David versus Goliath, or Daniel in the lion's den, or Esther risking everything? Because I feel like these themes are all in the book.
Yeah. I mean, for us, again, it goes back to identity. When David stood up to Goliath, he had the opportunity to wear Saul's armor, which I'm sure was beautiful and fancy and would have protected him really well. But he chose to, he didn't use the armor. He faced Goliath in his own God-given identity. He's a shepherd boy. So he used what he had, he'd killed the lion and the bear. that's the same way, and I don't want to give away the end.
Don't do that. No.
But there are moments where our hero George, he gets to take on some of these other big, exciting, explosive. Again, I'm not giving anything away. Weapons, and but in the end, his tool of choice or his weapon of choice is something that is unique only to him.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if you look at the cover of the book, it's sort of a funny story how we came to that cover. We actually polled a bunch of kids. We had different ideas for the cover could look like this or could look like that. We had all sorts of clever ideas. But what was amazing is that from middle school classrooms to our own circle of kids and friends, this image, which is a very David and Goliath image, is what lit kids up, because there is something exciting and dangerous about that David story, about that, you know, that story of someone slaying that dragon, that thing that looks like, oh, there's no way he could do that. And then yet somehow he's empowered to do it. And so,
and it looks a little dangerous.
Yes,
I mean, it's like what Jordan
It
Peterson, I love, there's a Jordan Peterson line. He's like, don't bother children when they're skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like these kids want to do something dangerous. Like they want to, they want to take risks, and you got to let them do that. We're talking with Candace Lee and Eric Newman. George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, a scouting legend, is available everywhere now. For the moms and dads and grandparents listening, right? Everybody, and me included, we feel like the culture's coming after our kids. How can we use this book to spark real conversations about faith and courage and standing as strong people in a fallen world?
Yeah, I think you know, the reason we love George as our hero in this story, and it is a story about courage, but he is not, I would not describe him as being very brave. He's determined.
Yeah.
And he's very, very afraid. And so one of the things I even did with my own kids when we would read the book is after the chapter, we would talk about, okay, what did George do? You know, how do you think George felt in that moment? Oh, he was very afraid. And then what did he do? He did it anyway.
Yep.
So we had those little talks all the way through.
Bravery is not the absence of fear.
Right.
It's fear being present and doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's fun. Because we started the book as a screenplay, there is it just feels like it's meant to be read aloud. And that really is our hope, is that families will use it to gather, that it'll be a story that's enjoyed, you know, in company, so that those moments can happen, those discipling moments, those great conversations. And we heard, you know, we did had a conversation with a coach, athletic director, and a middle school teacher, and just the idea of this book being used in these more conversational settings to hopefully just spark those conversations. You know, it's not always the easiest to get, you know, a middle schooler to open up, but if we can kind of ease into those conversations through a character, then sometimes they can really lead to those really valuable moments where, you know, a young person does feel safe to share what they were feeling, what they're grappling with, what the dragon is in their own life. And so, yeah, that's our dream, is that those conversations are happening around this book.
And this is book 1 of 3.
Yes.
So what's the vision for the Order of the Dragon Slayer? Where do we go from here?
Well, we age up a little bit with the kids. You know, the next book, which we're wrapping up that adventure, we are very excited about it. The kids are all a year older, and they're asking a little bit different questions. You know, they did some brave things. I'm not going to give away spoilers, but they did some brave things, but the world maybe had different opinions about what they did. Mm-hmm. You know, should they have, you know, is it a good thing to slay a dragon? Is it a bad thing? So we kind of test the character, like how the world perceives them, and then which really kind of pushes them to know even more deeply, you know, who am I and what am I here for? So yeah, we're excited about it.
When do we get a movie?
Oh, yeah. Well, we want to get a lot of people reading the book so that it makes the journey to the movie. We've got some amazing development going on the film side.
Yeah,
so, I mean, if we saw the storyboards, or if we were able to show a storyboard sequence that we have, I think everybody would be like, okay,
we've got storyboards ready. We've got people ready to go, but soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Candace Lee and Eric Newman are in here. They wrote an unbelievable book. It is called George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, a Scouting Legend. 30-second elevator pitch. Why should parents and grandparents and kids all be reading this book this summer?
Oh, man. You know, first and foremost, it's a campfire story. It's going to be fun we wrote it for families who love Percy Jackson, but this is a story that's going to challenge young people to really discover who they are and who God has created them to be.
I think that's the best elevator pitch you could give. Thank you guys for stopping by and telling us about the book. Where can we find it? Where can we get it?
Everywhere books are sold.
Yes, scoutinglegend.com. There's a lot of really fun stuff about the series. You can get a free chapter to download there. And yeah, we look forward. Tell us, we're on the Story Slayers, storyslayers.com and the Story Slayers on Instagram. We love to hear from people who've actually read the book. So please let us know.
Perfect. Well, my kids will be writing a full review as soon as we get done with this.
Awesome.
I appreciate you guys taking some time. And when book number 2 comes out, will you come in and do this again?
We'd love to.
Absolutely.
1051 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. And if you think that you have to wait for open enrollment to get yourself some good health insurance that isn't going to break the bank, that is a myth. That is just what the big insurance companies want you to think. With Cover Nash, you can get covered today, right now. No waiting, no gimmicks. You missed open enrollment, no problem. You lost your job coverage, that's tough, but Shane can help you out. If you're sick of overpriced junk insurance, or you're not even sure if your insurance is junk and overpriced, talk to Shane today. See, Cover Nash partners with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand new nationwide PPO options with deductibles as low as $250, flat $50 doctor visits, and ACA-compliant plans with free preventative care like physicals and colonoscopies. Not that anybody's excited about that, but at least you're not paying for it. Plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, even small businesses. Stop overpaying, stop waiting, and stop thinking you're stuck. Call Shane today, 615-465-0023, 615-465-0023, or you can go to covernash.com. Get some health insurance on your terms, not the government's. Covernash.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. But we have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations, we install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
I will ask you this directly because a lot of people listen, they tune in, they tune out, and they perhaps have not heard this conversation in the past. But if you were called to something beyond what you're currently doing, I think you've made no bones about it that you would look toward public service in a future capacity in any way that you can serve the people of Tennessee.
Yes,
is that fair?
I would, absolutely. Yeah, I've had a remarkable life, man. I grew up on a farm in Missouri. My family didn't have a whole lot.
And from there, I found something I was good at and traveled the world, entertained millions of people, provided my family with a life I wouldn't have thought possible. I'm a product of the American dream, and I'm a big believer in what Ronald Reagan said, that freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. So people like me who have benefited so much from what this country has to offer.
1056 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Getting a bunch of texts. Everybody was asking what was the name of the book. George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, a scouting legend. I texted a couple people the link for it. If you want a good book for your kids this summer, this is the one to go with. If you hit us up on the text line, I'll send you the link, 615-737-9986. It's a good palate cleanser. It's a good, listen, we do a lot of like the railing against the woke stuff, where we're often talking about the books you don't want in your kids' libraries. We talk a lot about, I was talking with these guys. I don't know if we did it on the air or off the air, but we were talking about the Roald Dahl books, how they went in and they changed them all.
Yeah, you touched that a little bit on the air, yeah.
I think it's also good to, instead of just railing against what isn't working, to talk about what is working. And I'm actually very excited to read this with my boys. I bet you Kennedy's going to dive into this. Kennedy will probably read this in like a week and a half.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm so excited for this book.
Yeah, it's cool, man. So again, a little different, but we can get back to screaming into the ether too if you want to.
I mean, I'm here for whatever you need.
We're here for all of it. So listen, George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, a scouting legend, available everywhere. If you want the link, again, just text us. I'll send it to you. Great gift idea. Great gift.
Oh, absolutely.
So we got more to get to, believe it or not. Alpha Gal. Dude, I saw some stuff on Alpha Gal over the weekend. By the way, we had an interview. We were ahead of the curve with this.
Yeah.
We had an interview with Dr. Underwood, which is available on YouTube now, about Alpha Gal and Lyme disease and all that stuff with the ticks that may or may not have been created in a lab. But I saw a thing over the weekend with RFK Jr. Bananas. Dude, Martha's Vineyard up north, Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
50% of the people on Martha's Vineyard have Alpha Gal.
No.
I'm not making it up.
One of the tick-borne disease besides Lyme that is of great concern to the American people, an increasing concern is alpha-gal. And alpha-gal, which is another science fiction nightmare. You get one bite from a Lone Star tick and you could have a lifetime allergy to red meat. And I was surprised to learn on my trip to visit the Wampanoag for the Indian Health Services this fall that 50% of the population of Martha's Vineyard now has alpha-gal.
What? 50% of the population of Martha's Vineyard has alpha-gal? Is that not insane? Do you find that as insane as I find that? Now, if we zoom out a little bit, the population of Martha's Vineyard is about 20,000 people. During peak vacationing times, right, it gets to like 200,000 people. But still, 10,000 out of 20,000 people on a teeny tiny island have alpha-gal? That's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Including most members of the tribe. And by controlling the breeding on the deer, we also can control alpha-gal as well.
I hope they can get it under control. I mean, it's terrifying. Maybe they'll have a vaccine for it soon. Sorry. I held it as long as I could. Would you take that vaccine? I might hold on. Ooh. I might take my chances with the alpha-gal. Maybe. It's 11 o'clock. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Nope.
It is 11 a.m. I'm Jay Harper, in for Ken Weaver. Poor Ken, not feeling well today, so I've got him covered here. We'll get to your top stories here. We'll also get you a full forecast. We Of course, you probably know. I mean, we're dealing with a line of storms right now. It's moving through Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Quite a bit of lightning in this system. And, of course, it is affecting some traffic here in Nashville. Shock, as the roads are slick and folks are slowing down. So just be careful. Tina Peters, the former clerk convicted of participating in a scheme to chase election conspiracy theories pushed by Donald Trump, she was released from prison today after the president successfully pressured Colorado's Democratic governor into commuting her sentence. Peters' release was confirmed by the Colorado Department of Corrections. The state agency said it would have no more information about the 70-year-old inmate. Her sentence was shortened by Governor Jared Polis last month after Trump waged a lengthy pressure campaign against the governor. Peters served less than a quarter of her 9-year sentence. She was the first local election official to be charged with breaching security after the 2020 election. She snuck in an outside computer expert, and the person copied the county's Dominion voting system's computer server as it was updated in 2021. Iran, they've walked away from talks with the U.S., angered that the U.S. retaliated after it shot down a U.S. drone in international waters and fired missiles at a U.S. military base in Kuwait.
This morning, new tensions in the Middle East. U.S. Central Command announcing it conducted self-defense strikes inside Iran over the weekend, targeting radar and drone sites. CENTCOM says the U.S. strikes were in response to what it called aggressive Iranian actions, which included the shooting down of a U.S. drone over international waters.
That's ABC's Karen Hua. Iran also cited Israeli strikes on terror group Hezbollah in Lebanon, I should say. There's that Middle Tennessee in me. Also, moments ago, the Israeli military warned residents of Beirut to flee their homes amid potential impending strikes. That is the latest news. We'll have a complete official weather forecast coming up next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
So in Chicago, you had a massive ICE raid. They were pinned in by a bunch of locals and some gang members as well. ICE was. And these guys, these gang members, they had weapons, high-powered weapons. And these ICE agents, they were blocked in by hundreds of these locals. And there's a guy on the roof pointing something at them as well. And so ICE ended up, to get out of this, because they're calling for backup and the whole thing, they ended up releasing some tear gas, and everybody starts freaking out because there is, in Chicago, this is so insane, a temporary restraining order that does not allow tear gas to be released unless the ICE agents face an imminent threat or they give 2 prior warnings. Now, first of all, I don't believe that ICE would use tear gas unless it was an imminent threat. But the point is that they're making it harder and harder for ICE to do their job. So, of course, Gregory Bavino, and if you don't know who Bavino is, he is the head of this particular mission, right, in Chicago. And he is being accused of violating the restraining order that does not allow ICE to use tear gas unless agents face an imminent threat or they're given 2 prior warnings. So he hauls in, I love this, Bovino hauls in the tape that if you're watching on YouTube TV, Super Talk TV, you can see they bring in drone footage. They bring in these people making threats against the ICE agents and so forth. And so I love that he does bring in the receipts. And you know what? If that's what these judges are going to do, and if that's what the liberals are going to do, and if that's what these illegal alien gang members are going to do when we come into, their neighborhoods to find the gangbanger illegal aliens, we are going to go even harder. You're going to mess with us? We're going to mess with you harder. I love, love, love that attitude from Bovino.
6 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I think I got everybody I texted everybody that wanted the book, the link to the book. George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer, Scouting Legend. I'm excited to read this. I really am. If we haven't gotten you the link and you wanted to pick up a copy, you can text in. We'll send it to you. I'm just doing it because I think kids need good books to read. It's not a commercial or anything like that. It's a lot of woke stuff out there. My wife and I, we got a gift card to Barnes & Noble from the liberal sister. I don't think she did it because she's liberal. I think she was just trying to be nice to the kids. And we went to Barnes & Noble. My wife was like, it's like playing zone defense to keep the kids away from the crazy books in there. So if you need a good book, let us know. We'll send you the link. We do appreciate people doing good things and good work, and that's what Candace Lee and Eric Newman are doing. So it's awesome, man. Good for them. I hope the book is super successful. I hope it gets turned into a movie, and I hope that we see a lot of fruit from that tree. On the way, we want to talk about a lot of things. I wanted to talk about the LA mayoral race. That's quickly approaching us. That election is tomorrow, and Spencer Pratt has been in a full court press in Los Angeles, and he's up against it. He certainly is. Now, the polling looks very, very positive for Spencer Pratt. He has actually pulled into a lead over Karen Bass, but it is California, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch. This is the latest on the polling in the LA mayoral race. Mayoral is such a weird word to say. And it's like the more you say it, the weirder it gets.
It kind of becomes a non-word.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, not a mayoral.
Mayoral?
Mayoral.
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 Merrill. It's the Merrill race.
Merrill race.
Spencer Pratt closing the gap ahead of the primary on Tuesday.
Hey, Brian. Spencer Pratt has largely run his campaign off of Skid Row, ending the homeless crisis there and restoring safety for animals that are abused on Skid Row. And we're not far from that area right now, where Spencer just left an event that was hosted by Hispanic and Latino supporters. He met with several dozen supporters in person here in what was like a block party style gathering. And here's what Pratt told the group.
I just want people to feel safe. I want families to be able to thrive in the city. And it takes the whole city to actually change. I'm just going to be the voice of the community.
And the mayor's race is considered wide open. Mayor Bass is campaigning all over the city this weekend to keep her job. We were at an SCIU union rally yesterday where Bass did not miss the opportunity to attack Spencer Pratt.
We have a choice. Do we choose a TV reality star villain? Right. Saying he was a villain and taking pride in that, but we don't need villains in the city.
I mean, we have a real villain in the city already in Karen Bass.
Isn't she oh yeah, she made bombs?
Yeah,
right?
She was literally, Spencer posted that on his X account. He said, yes, I was on a reality show in my 20s. In her 20s, Karen Bass was going to Cuba and training with the Venceremos Brigade to make explosives. We are not the same. Spencer Pratt, he's doing a good job, though. He's up against the machine in Los Angeles, and it looks like the machine is a little bit nervous. Again, this is just my opinion, but when I see news about mail-in ballots in LA being found burned up, I can't help but wonder, is this the machine panicking? And that's exactly the headlines we got over the weekend.
Vote by mail ballots were found burned inside a ballot box in Los Angeles just 2 days before the California primaries. Election officials discovered the damaged ballots and they filed a report with the police department. They say a separate voting center was also vandalized. Investigators are looking into both incidents and are working to identify any voters who have been affected.
It's just a happy little accident. Just, what are you going to do? I'm sure that this won't affect anything. Right now, the mayoral mayoral primary in Los Angeles between three people. Nithya Raman, Karen Bass, Spencer Pratt. Nithya Raman is all but done, right? Like, she's cooked. At the end of the day, we're probably going to get a runoff between Pratt and Bass. Maybe Bass loses outright on the second. If Spencer Pratt gets 51% of the vote or more, there is no reason for a runoff. Lord willing, he gets that. And he might. You're getting a lot of reaction from the community out there who are absolutely loving Spencer Pratt. This one, Spencer Pratt did an event in Crenshaw. And he went down to Crenshaw, and a black woman said, listen, Karen Bass tricked us, but she's not going to trick us again.
Nobody voted for that no more. We not voted for that. Karen tricked us. She don't get to do that twice. Now you come in here all the way to Crenshaw from the Palisades, and we all got something in common. Let's do it.
That's right.
Coming to Crenshaw. Has Karen Bass visited Crenshaw? I don't know. Another guy walked up to Spencer Pratt and told him that things have gotten so bad, and Mayor Karen Bass is to blame. She said that she let L.A. and some of the homeless shelters there turning to a dumping ground where they're just finding dead bodies. I mean, this is the reality. This is your city on Mayor Karen Bass, or Democrat rule in general.
Hello, sir. Spencer, thank you so much for coming out here. Appreciate it. Fighting for us. I'm from the Valley. I'm native of the Valley, and there's a lot of problems. I've seen at the bus stops, there's people with needles there, and there's actually a homeless shelter. It used to be a skate land, and now they made it into a homeless shelter. And I think 2 years ago, there was a dumping ground. The bodies, they found like one body. Like, there was a cave behind the homeless shelter. And
Two people have been found dead in Northridge in what firefighters have described as a cave.
2 bodies and a white powdery substance were found in what's being described as a human-dug cave.
Crews were called to the scene this morning, finding the bodies at a homeless encampment inside what authorities described as a human-dug cave with a white powdery substance, possibly fentanyl, next to them.
And if Nithya Raman went down to that cave and asked them if they want to get treatment, you know what would happen? She would get stabbed in the neck. That's just, Los Angeles is absolutely insane. There's a lot that needs to be fixed in Los Angeles. Spencer Pratt went on with Bill Maher over the weekend on, what's the name of his show? Is it Real Time? Real Time with Bill Maher? Or it was his podcast. It was one of the two.
Something like that.
But he's like, well, what about the taxes on solar panels? He's like, I wanted to get solar panels, and it took me 3 years to get them installed. And this is an issue. And Spencer Pratt looked at me and goes, I don't really care about that right now. He's like, my main focus is cleaning up the streets and letting people rebuild their homes. And Bill Maher says to him, well, can't you walk and chew gum at the same time? And he goes, Bill, you need to spit out that gum, all right? Because we have some major problems in Los Angeles. Solar panels are not going to be taking the priority here. But you got people walking up to Spencer Pratt saying, listen, we have been tricked. We have been tricked by Karen Bass. And they're absolutely right. I think you could say the same thing for Gavin Newsom. I think you could say the same thing for a lot of the Democratic leadership in Los Angeles and in California. But you have so many issues that need to be fixed immediately. Like, we'll wait on the solar panels, dude. Like, chill with the solar panels. But a lot of people are saying we have to fix this. Ro Khanna, he understands that there's problems in LA. He's a Democrat from California. But when he was talking about the fires in the LA mayoral race between Bass and Pratt right now, He knew exactly who you need to blame when it comes to the fires, and it's not Karen Bass. No. It's Donald Trump.
When it comes to the LA race, Karen Bass and you see Spencer Pratt, what do you think we're learning about how Californians feel about the incumbents in general?
Look, I think that there is was a lot of hurt and anger after the fires. My view is that the blame of that really needs to go on Donald Trump.
I mean, this is the issue with Democrats, right? This is the total issue. You'd rather blame Donald Trump than actually take any accountability and fix the problems that are in front of you. Well, did you know that the orange man is bad? What does Donald Trump have to do with a mayoral race in California? If you guessed absolutely nothing, you are correct, and it seems like no Democrats can guess that. Insanity. Spencer Pratt said that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are essentially criminal partners, complicit in fraud and money laundering schemes. He went as far to say that they should be in jail together. This is the kind of energy that you need in California.
I had not heard that, but it's not shocking because they're alleged criminal partners. Not only did they work together in their negligence in burning down 7,000 houses and 12 people alive, but they're both complicit in laundering $24 billion to actually increase homelessness. Newsom and Karen Bass make up stats. Those are not real numbers. Anybody with eyeballs in the state of California or Los Angeles knows that there has not been a reduction in one homeless person. Actually, there's been an increase of naked drug addict zombies in front of every kid's playground, every kid's school, every coffee shop. So that is, of course, because they both should be in jail together for their. I personally believe what they did to the Palisades is criminal negligence. So they need to cover for each other so they don't end up in jail for letting 12 people burn alive from their negligence.
Yeah. But have you thought maybe this was Donald Trump's fault? I mean, that's what many Democrats would like to think and like to say. California has a host of issues. One of the things that we talked about earlier in the show is Nick Shirley. They're pushing the Stop Nick Shirley Act. And it looks like it's advancing where they're going to criminalize the people going after and investigating the fraud rather than the fraudsters themselves. Spencer Pratt says if he becomes mayor, he's going to rip apart the NGO fraud industrial complex.
Can't even begin to calculate the total fraud in Karen Bass's homeless program. Are you committed to rooting fraud out of the system?
Let's go back to these numbers. They just pick a day and they have volunteers and they drive around and they go 1, 2, 3. It's insane. That number is made up. The Rand Corporation says that even their not accurate number is 30% higher than that fake number. And again, why I will be one of the most successful mayors in the history of the country is because I'm going to have full accountability and transparency for every dollar of our tax money, not just in this homeless industrial complex scam, but in the police department, in the fire department, in transportation. We need to know where all of our tax money is going and not confusing dashboards on .gov where you need to be an accountant and a forensic investigator to even know what they're saying. These need to be very easy to read. High school kids should be able to log on and know where their parents' money is going, and they should be able to catch it themselves. If there's failure in the city and waste, I would like high school kids to be able to say, it's that much money for this refrigerator at the fire station? That refrigerator at Costco is a third of that. Yeah. That's the Los Angeles that I will be creating.
I mean, Lord knows they need it. They absolutely do. Spencer Pratt went on to say that Karen Bass doesn't want to root out that kind of fraud because she's actually in the email chains with fraudsters and NGOs that are being investigated by the Department of Justice currently.
She's connected to, obviously, a mafia-like organization. The NGOs that are stealing billions of our tax money to increase drug addicts naked on our sidewalks, she's complicit. These are her associates. She's in emails with the same people that have Department of Justice investigations right now against them. So I believe maybe that's the only honest thing she's ever said, in the fact that, yes, they're all criminals. So maybe criminals are resistant to stopping the crime because they're profiting off of these poor souls that the mayor and these NGOs let 7 of them die on the sidewalk a day in their own feces. So, these people are evil.
Yeah, evil. Speaking of evil, we had talked about what's going on with the homeless and the pets. And Spencer Pratt over the weekend with Kayleigh McEnany on Fox News said it's worse than you could even imagine. It's not just that they're testing fentanyl on the dogs. It's way worse than that.
Disgusting that even testing your drugs on a dog is the least of the worst of what these demons are doing to these poor animals. They're lighting them on fire. They're raping these dogs. They're abusing them. They're breeding them to the point that they die because they've been so overbred. And it's not just the animals on Skid Row. We have a LA City shelter system that is supposed to be a no-kill shelter that's killing thousands of dogs also because it's underfunded and it doesn't have the people that need to be running it.
Yeah, no, you heard that correctly. You did. The testing the fentanyl on the pets, it's the least of the worries. They're lighting the dogs on fire and raping the dogs. Yep. Spencer Pratt has gotten this far by pushing a message of common sense. But he's also used tech to his advantage, and he has created a campaign with AI-driven ads that have really helped his reach. A lot of individuals should take note of what Spencer Pratt has been able to do on social media. If you're running for any kind of office, you should be watching what he's doing, because he's been able to do something with a very, very small budget that has reached millions upon millions of people. One of those AI ads I can't play on the air, but I will play when we get into commercial break here on the stream, because he dropped a new AI ad just yesterday that I think that you need to see. It's awesome, as many of his AI ads have been, but it's got some curse words. So we can only do it on the YouTube stream. Join us over there. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. I'll see you on the stream while we're in commercial, and we'll be back here in moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And summer's heating up, and Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is keeping you cool and giving you a chance to hit the beach. If you purchase a new home air conditioning system during the month of June, you'll be entered to win a free 3-day beach getaway. Busy Bee is going to cover your gas, your lodging, and 2 meals a day. One lucky winner is going to be announced live on Facebook. Now, if you're looking to improve your home's air quality, you can save 10% on their deluxe air duct cleaning package, or 5% on the mid-tier package. You need plumbing service? Take $100 off any plumbing repair over $500. Or save 10% on select water systems. And for a limited time, receive a free Yeti cooler with any home drain repipe or water repipe project. The beach getaway drawing is open exclusively to customers who purchase a new AC system in June. One winner will be selected. Restrictions do apply. Call Busy Bee today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, or find them online at busybeehvac.com. And be sure to ask about becoming a Beehive Club member so you can save even more money. busybeehvac.com. Hello there. Welcome back. This is the ad that I can't play it on the air because of reasons, but I can play it for you guys on the YouTube stream. Just another bonus. Why you need to be over here. Hit subscribe, hit like, do all the things. This is Spencer Pratt's new AI ad.
Honey, we need to talk. We saw the things you've been searching online. Spencer Pratt? Really?
In this house, we don't believe in Spencer Pratt. He's MAGA.
What about Spencer Pratt is MAGA?
You know those streets downtown? The ones that are full of piss and shit and homeless people? He wants to clean them up.
And those neighborhoods that burned down? The Palisades? Malibu? He wants to rebuild them.
You know how people inject heroin in front of children at the park? He wants to stop that.
And that's MAGA?
Yes. It's a very dangerous ideology.
I love it. Now, obviously, the whole thing is AI, but he's just so good at this. Nobody is even on his level, or anywhere close to his level when it comes to the AI ads. Do I have time for one more? Give me a thumbs up if I got another minute and a half. Do I got another minute and a half? Oh, I'm getting a shaking of a head by Mason. He's very disappointed. I only have 40 seconds left. Tell you what, when we get into the newscast with Jay Harper, I'll do another one, which is the one that Karen Bass got so upset about because they had the audacity to throw tomatoes at elected officials in California. She's like, this is assassination culture. Miss me with the BS. We'll play that here in a little bit. Hang out with us on the stream. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We're going to rejoin radio, and we'll be right back.
More U.S. strikes on Iranian targets. Yep, here we go again. Also, Ebola numbers continue to explode in Central Africa, and more runway expansions at BNA. We'll give you all of that coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. What's up, Jay?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, didn't expect to be here. Poor Ken. He's not feeling well this morning, so to the rescue I come to help out my man.
He got a titch of the Rhea. So Jay got tagged in. Shout out to Jay Harper. We appreciate you being here, Jay. Thank you so much.
You betcha.
Is it still crazy rain outside?
Yeah, and there are actually some really pretty intense storms down in Columbia, Fayetteville, Lincoln County, that area. So a lot of lightning out there as well.
As of right now, though, it's just severe thunderstorms, right? We don't have any tornado watches or warnings.
Correct. Nothing as of this moment.
Okay. Should anything change on the severe weather, Jay, you have full freedom to jump in and alert us at a moment's notice. Jay's in the back; he's one of the best, so we'll keep you updated on all things that to do with the weather. But hey, this could work out in your favor. You could get a longer lunch break. Be like, listen, I tried to get back.
Yeah, but
that storm.
I know, man.
That storm was dicey.
That's right. And those people driving the silver and white cars without their headlights on in this stuff, the reader boards say, put your lights on. It's the law. But people still fail to do it.
Yep. I don't read. I don't read the reader boards. I was told don't read while you're driving, so I don't. But we got a lot more coming up. We were talking about Spencer Pratt. I played one of the AI ads on the stream. I'm going to do another one here in a moment after Jay's newscast. In about 2 minutes, Jay's going to hit us with the headlines. I also want to talk about Henry Nowak. Have you heard this story? Probably not from American media. You see, we've had 0 stories from PBS on Henry Nowak, 0 stories from the New York Times, 0 stories from NPR, 0 stories from the Wall Street Journal, 0 stories from CNN, 0 stories from the Washington Post, 0 stories from Reuters, and 0 stories from MS Now. We don't say MSNBC. That's dead naming.
You don't.
Do you?
All the time.
Oh, some people wake up and they just choose violence. That's Mason Fleming for you. Now that he has health insurance, he's even getting crazier. Henry Nowak was stabbed by a newcomer to Britain, and he was then handcuffed by police because, well, you guessed it, they said he said something racist. And while he was handcuffed by police, he said, "I've been stabbed. I'm bleeding." They said, "No, you haven't." Then he bled out, and he said the famous words. He said, "I can't breathe." They said, "Shut up, bigot." And the police watched him die on the ground there. You've heard no uproar from this because there's no uproar needed. If the roles and races were reversed, this story would have been absolutely everywhere. Yet one guy in Britain on GB News, his name is Patrick Christie, he is calling out the hypocrisy. And I think that this deserves a bit of attention, not just for the Henry Nowak story, but for the sheer balls of Patrick Christie to call this out on TV in Britain, because he could be costing himself his career with this story that he ran. Now, we'll bring you that story first up in the lightning round on the way. Don't forget to join us on the stream. If you're not watching us on YouTube or Rumble, we'll have some stream-exclusive content here in a moment. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 11:30. I'm Jay Harper in for Ken Weaver. I've got your top stories. Weather, kind of one of those top stories, particularly south of Nashville, down in the Columbia area, Lawrenceburg. They've been dealing with a pretty good line of storms moving through, as is all of Middle Tennessee. Quite a bit of lightning out there, so just be careful. The U.S. saying it carried out self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and drone sites this past weekend. Iran saying it responded with attacks on a U.S. base in Kuwait. President Trump saying he's adding new demands to a possible peace deal, but Iran says they got their own demands, one that concerns Israeli operation against Lebanon. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge, he is in Jerusalem.
The Iranians are pretty clear. They are saying that there has to be a ceasefire on all fronts. They're saying that there can't be some kind of deal between the US and Iran if there isn't a ceasefire also in Lebanon, but the Israeli military, the Israeli government seem to be pushing in the opposite direction.
Doctors in Central Africa say they can't keep up with all the patients they're seeing as health officials in Brazil await test results on 2 people who recently returned from that area. ABC's Matt Rivers has more.
Americans traveling from the DRC, South Sudan, and Uganda can only enter the U.S. through 4 airports. Medical student Michael Ruprecht was working in Uganda when the outbreak began.
I obviously was really terrified and scared when I heard about it.
Michael's flight home to Michigan was rerouted to Dulles International Airport in Virginia for a CDC and DHS mandated screening.
Back here in Nashville, the Federal Aviation Administration gave the Metro Nashville Airport Authority some early approvals in the runway extension proposal process at Nashville International Airport. BNA officials are hoping to extend one of the runways to add direct flights to Asia and meet the growing demands of arrivals and departures here in Middle Tennessee. This comes as work on the main entrance begins again here soon. Concourse A, it's undergoing an overhaul to add 16 more gates and a second terminal. It is also planned for the future. Now, if they can only do something about getting in and out of the airport, right? That's the latest news. We've got weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Welcome back, my friends, and I appreciate you joining us over here on YouTube and Rumble for a little exclusive stream content. You may have seen this one already, but this to me was the best AI generated ad from Spencer Pratt. Go ahead and make this one full screen for the people watching at home, because it's that good. This is the one that made Karen Bass lose her mind because she said this is gonna get someone killed. This is turning into violence. Also, once you see her in the Joker face paint, you can't unsee that. And now that's what you'll see every time you look at her.
Please, I'm begging you. There's homeless drug addicts in front of the schools. My children aren't safe.
Look, if you were a transgender migrant, I could get you a free pussy.
Let's move the drug addicts closer. Bass already solved the crime. I endorse her.
Based.
Please, I just want to rebuild my home. It's been over a year.
This is a machine. If we want to burn this town to the ground,
Worth saving. Absolutely true. That was the best one. Karen Bass lost her mind over it, saying this is assassination culture. This is going to get someone killed. Miss me with the bullshit. We're going to rejoin radio. We'll see you guys here in a second. Appreciate you, as always, watching us on YouTube and Rumble. Thank you. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. Is there a reason why we would need a water filtration system? Do you have any idea?
I think, I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Thanks, Alex. Betterwater.com. Thanks, Alex. People got reasons. They don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
I'd make that deal.
I would make that deal. Would you make that deal?
I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Will somebody think of the frogs?
Betterwater.com.
Betterwater.com. All right, without further ado, we do got to jump right into it. It's that time of the day again, my friends. It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. We cover all the stories that we didn't have a chance to get to. Stories that might not fill up a whole segment, but stories that we want to talk about regardless. This story, to be perfectly honest with you, I could have filled the whole segment with this, but we just ran out of time. I had this as a standalone story, and I wanted to get to it because I think it's important. Henry Nowak is his name. Young man in Britain, and he was murdered. He was murdered by a migrant. The migrant who stabbed him said he was a bad man before he stabbed him. And the crime here was he said, "Hey, what are you doing with that knife?" That's literally how the incident started. He was then stabbed multiple times. The brother of the perpetrator then called the police and said that Nowak said something racist, which is probably why the police showed up in the first place. The person that stabbed Henry Nowak, his mother came to the scene and then hid the weapon. Now, you haven't heard this story anywhere because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't. And it's not something that nobody in mainstream media wants to publicize. I mentioned this earlier, but as of May 29th, there were 0 stories from the AP, 0 stories from PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, and MS Now. 0, goose egg, nothing. Now, GB News in Great Britain, they have a guy that hosts a show there by the name of Patrick Christie, and he actually covered the story. So there's really 2 stories here at play. There is Henry Nowak's story, which needs to be told, and people need to hear about this. But there's also the bravery of Patrick Christie calling this out on TV in Britain when this could cost him his career. He did a lengthy segment on the story, and kudos to him for doing so, because this is a story that needs to be told and a story that needs to be shared.
I think we've just had Britain's George Floyd moment, except the victim in question was an innocent British young lad and not an American serial criminal and heavy drug user.
Already off to a hot start, and he's absolutely right.
Henry Nowak was stabbed in the heart, his legs, his face and his jaw. He was attacked by this man, Vikram Digwa.
Now, if you're not watching on the YouTube stream or on Rumble, Vikram Digwa, I don't know, would you classify that as quintessentially British? Or would you classify that under newcomer? Asking for a friend.
Who was yesterday found guilty of murder. What happened was that Digwa's brother, Gurpreet, called police after the attack and falsely claimed that Henry Nowak had been racist towards his brother.
Again, that's probably the only reason why the police decided to show up.
They did not call an ambulance, even though they must have known that Nowak had been stabbed. Then, Digwa's mother arrived at the scene. She just turned up, and she took and then hid the ceremonial knife that was used to stab Henry Nowak to death. She was then found guilty of assisting an offender. So then what happened next? Well, it appears that 3 female police officers turned up. Henry Nowak told them that he'd been stabbed. They said, "No, you haven't."
Shut up, bigot.
They then handcuffed him, and they didn't check him for stab wounds. He then told them that he couldn't breathe, and he sadly died, handcuffed, accused of being a racist, and what actually happened was that he drowned in his own blood.
If this isn't a metaphor for what's happening in Britain, I don't know what is. If this isn't the current reality of Britain. I don't know what is. You have newcomers, invaders, culturally and literally, and they are being treated better than the original inhabitants of the island. And when bad things happen, all you have to do is say racism. Insane. And as we watch this story play out, this is literally the new British story. You know what's going on, but you can't say anything because, well, people might call you a name.
The claims that Henry Novak had said something racist or knocked Digwe's turban off his head were completely blown apart during the trial. Because what actually happened again was that Digwe had stolen Henry Novak's phone, which contained footage of the build-up to the stabbing. And it revealed that Novak had not been racist. He'd asked why Digwe was walking around carrying a sword, which I think is fair enough when you think about it, really. And Digwe had responded by saying, "I'm a bad man."
It's actually the most racist thing you can say. Excuse me, what are you doing with that sword? That's it. That's all Henry Novak did. You stupid racist.
And then stabbed him multiple times. Now, I just want to reiterate that Henry's last words here were, "I can't breathe." And that's important because I'm sure that many people will remember this, what happened to George Floyd, where, of course, he was dying in the street. He died in the street as a police officer had his knee on his neck, and he was saying, wasn't he, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." Now, I'm not saying that George Floyd deserved to die. Obviously not, he didn't. But what I am saying is that George Floyd had multiple previous criminal convictions, including a 2007 aggravated robbery where he held a gun to a woman's stomach, and he did have multiple different drugs in his system at the time. People tried to burn cities to the ground in the wake of George Floyd's death. It prompted the whole Black Lives Matter movement. His death sparked protests right here in Britain.
Black Lives Matter! All Black Lives Matter! Wait, take a new Come on! Yes, my man! Yes, my man!
Police officers literally taking the knee outside Downing Street to the Black Lives Matter crowd. Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner took the knee in solidarity because of George Floyd. So far, we have had absolutely no remarks from Keir Starmer about Henry Novak, a young boy who drowned in his own blood as British police officers handcuffed him because they thought that the big crime that had been committed that day was that he'd been racist.
Insane. The story needs a bit more attention. And shout out to Patrick Christie from GB News for giving it the attention it deserves in Great Britain, because Lord knows nobody else even wants to acknowledge that it happened. If the races were reversed here, it would have been global news. And everybody knows it. Everyone knows it. If Henry Novak was black and the person that stabbed him was white, yeah, you can bet that the AP, PBS, CNN, New York Times, NPR, Washington Post, Reuters, MS Now, everybody would have been talking about it. Everyone would have. But you're not allowed to report on it. He was white. So apparently he must have got what was coming to him, I guess, right?
Which was a lie. Silence from the Prime Minister. Silence from pretty much all the politicians who stood up for BLM. The PM tweeted about a mosque attack in San Diego, California. Nothing about a white British lad left to bleed to death as police watched on. The local MP where the attack took place has proudly posted about attending BLM events. I mean, here's what I think needs to happen now. Number one, release the body cam footage of what really happened. Name and shame the police officers. Hold the police officers accountable. Deport the murderer's mum. She was born abroad. She helped him hide the sword. Why is she still here? Get rid of her. And ban these ceremonial knives. I just can't get my head around the reaction to George Floyd's death versus the reaction to Henry Novak's murder.
I would say deport the guys that were born in Britain too. Just get rid of them. Seriously. Who would say no? Well, probably all the politicians that didn't speak up when Henry Novak was murdered. Got it. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Chinese Communist Democrat California Mayor Eileen Wang, well, she has pled guilty after the FBI caught her using her position to act as an agent of the CCP. Do you remember this? We played this ad a couple weeks ago when the investigation led to an arrest.
是王爱玲，我是2022年 Arcadia 第3区市议员候选人，我将致力于为全体市民争取权益，努力提高企业信心，平衡预算，打击犯罪，不遗余力。请在11月8日投我一票，支持王爱玲竞选 Arcadia 第3。
Yeah, I mean, listen, it sold me too. I would have voted for her, 100%. She has entered a plea in her bombshell espionage case. Disgraced former Arcadia Mayor Eileen Wang entered a plea today in federal court following the bombshell admission that she was a spy for China. This was on Friday. Wang pleaded guilty after taking a plea deal with the Department of Justice, admitting that she had acted as an illegal agent of the People's Republic of China, ABC 7 reported. Wang agreed with prosecutors that she worked with the PRC to boost propaganda with a fake news website on U.S. soil between 2020 and 2022. She was elected to the city council in Arcadia, a city in the San Gabriel Valley within L.A. County in November of 2022. Wang, 58, worked with her fiancé on a website called U.S. News Center, which claimed to be a news source for Chinese Americans, according to court documents. But in reality, the pair was carrying out Beijing's orders through the site. Wang and Son executed directives from the Chinese government, posting propaganda designed to boost China, all while reporting back to their masters with screenshots showing how many people viewed the stories, according to the plea agreement. This is from the New York Post. Son was arrested and federally charged with acting as a covert agent of the PRC in 2024. He was later sentenced to 4 years in prison. Earlier this month, the DOJ unsealed Wang's federal charges for acting as an unregistered agent of the PRC and also released her signed plea deal. After the charges were unsealed, she resigned from her job as mayor of the Southern Californian town. U.S. Attorney Bill Esseley said individuals in our country who covertly do the bidding of foreign governments undermine our democracy. This plea agreement is the latest success in our determination to defend the homeland against China's efforts to disrupt and corrupt our institutions. Nothing of value was lost. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Speaking of mayors.
Oh.
You ready for this one? I don't know if you're ready for this one.
I'm never ready.
Massachusetts is putting the men in menstruation.
Oh.
Yep. The absolute lunatic of a mayor, Michelle Wu in Boston. Well, she's preparing a transgender menstruators event to kick off Pride Month. We're putting the men in menstruation, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was actually good. That was perfect. I would have also accepted the paper horn. I would have. We put the men in menstruation. Right? They both work.
So
both work. Both work well. This is what Fox News has on the event.
Pride Month starts on Monday, and Boston is getting ready to celebrate with a trans pride period event at the Boston Public Library focused on the experiences of trans menstruators. The city library is also planning 19 drag queen story hours next month, with most events geared towards kids 5 and under.
Well, got to start them young. Got to start them young.
One of the scheduled performers described what happens at these events a few years ago.
Right. I mean, the power of drag is that you can be anything you want to be. You can express yourself. There's drag performers that look all kinds of different crazy fun ways. And we think in my community that that's a great thing to show kids, that it shows kids that they can choose their own destiny. And that's what Let's Say Gay is about, is saying that is like, it's okay to talk about these issues with kids. That's not something that's going to harm them.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Joey. So this gender insanity cost the Democrats the 2024 election. The most effective ad in the last campaign was the closing ad where it said, "She's for they, them, Trump's for you," right? Why are the Democrats so obsessed with this issue and bringing this up, even though it's such a political loser for them?
Yeah, I do not understand this. I'm trying to say that men menstruate because they dress as women. That I don't understand. I really don't even have a rebuttal for it because I hope I don't need one.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much all you need to say. I don't want to. I'd rather just move on. Putting the men in menstruation up there in Boston. This is where I grew up. And people will say like, "Oh, Chris, when are you moving back?" And I'm like, never, actually. I'm never moving back. because you guys put the men in menstruation.
Stop it. Get some help.
Seriously, that's like the only reply that you have. Chris, why aren't you moving back? Stop it. Get some help. Oh, you know what? I would love to donate 30% of my salary so that way they can go to events like this in the great state of Massachusetts. Who wouldn't want that?
No.
Who wouldn't want that?
That's a nasty one. That's nasty.
It's true. It's true. All right, got time for one more story in the lightning round. This one's like, it's sad, but it's like, what did you think was going to happen, kid? So the San Antonio Spurs are on their way to beating the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals, and they won their Western Conference Finals over the weekend, and there was a huge celebration after. Everybody was going bananas. But there's just an absolutely awful story out of San Antonio where a fan, 17 years old, was celebrating with one of his buddies, and he was leaning out of his vehicle. He was hanging out the passenger side window. This is how they put it on Breitbart. 17-year-old Jose Joey Rodriguez is in critical condition and was reported by relatives and San Antonio police to be brain dead following Thursday's freak accident. He is not expected to survive, the San Antonio Express News reported. The teen was sitting on the passenger side window of a vehicle when it hit a curb, causing him to fall and hit his head on the pavement, his aunt Yvonne Hudson told the newspaper. He left blood all over the streets. Rodriguez was taken to an emergency room but transported to another local hospital due to the severity of his injuries. Expected to graduate from Frank Tejada Academy next year, Rodriguez also works at a restaurant called the Bill Miller Barbecue Restaurant, has a kind heart and a willingness to help people. The incident happened on the 300 block of West Dixon Avenue, just north of Southwest Military Drive. According to the preliminary police report, San Antonio police had diverted traffic to side streets to help keep vehicles moving through the crowded celebration area. Hudson said that was when her nephew initially asked his parents for permission to go celebrate the Spurs win. They said no because of the nonsense happening there, but Rodriguez told them that a parent would go with them, and they agreed. Rodriguez went with friends only instead, and he was hanging out the side of a passenger window. And the car was maybe doing donuts, hit a curb, and he fell out of the car. Terrible, awful. Pray for the family, but use this as a great avenue to talk to your kids. Dumb decisions could absolutely last you a lifetime. So put that in your back pocket for when you need it. 11:54 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find it.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little
Okay.
further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, I watched you do it. It's, like 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
It is high noon, and I'm